In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can use law of attraction to improve your state of mental health. We're going to start right from depression and work our way up the emotional scale and share tools that you can start using right away. Hi, I'm ZMAHOON from ZMAHOON.com, and on this channel, we discuss anything and everything to do with the law of attraction in order to create unlimited lives. So let's get started. Depression. What is mental health? Mental health is basically the state of experiencing fulfillment, satisfaction, and joy. And the absence of mental health is experiencing negative emotions such as depression and anxiety and being subject to panic attacks. So, how can law of attraction fit into this picture? Therapy is still catching up with a couple of things that law of attraction teaches us. And I know that a lot of counseling and therapy is now incorporating law of attraction, and I'm so excited about that. The main difference between therapy and law of attraction is that therapy takes you backwards and then brings you forward, whereas law of attraction starts from where you are and takes you forward. That's the main difference. The similarities between therapy and law of attraction are that both of them help you and me to start shifting our perspective about the world, to start shifting the way we look at things, to start shifting the beliefs that control our thinking and our emotions. So in that, they are both the same, but they go about it in very different ways. Therapy is about finding something that's stuck and then trying to fix it. Law of attraction says that you can go forward to fix things rather than go backwards. And the reasoning is, if whatever we focus on becomes bigger in our lives, then we don't want to go backwards and focus on things that were not working for us before. Because if we do that, we bring those things into our future. The way I like to explain this is by using the analogy of a car. When I was younger, my father owned a car, a stick shift car, and it used to die quite often. And then we would all get out and give it a push. And as I started understanding how physics works and how the world works, I discovered that in the process of pushing the car forward, what I was doing was giving it my energy, and that transference of energy was pushing the car forward on the road. Law of attraction says that when you focus on a subject and give it your attention, you push this subject into your future. And that is how you create your future. So if you didn't want a subject to end up in your future, you have to stop focusing on it. I remember as a child, I was very focused on a superstition about black cats passing my path or crossing my path. And I know that when I stopped thinking about them, I stopped seeing them. And a lot of people might think, oh, that's just a coincidence, but there is no coincidence in the world. Everything happens according to a system, and that system is what law of attraction is. When you stop thinking, or when I stopped thinking about the black cat, I no longer was pushing the black cat into my future. So it stopped showing up for me. Now, there's another element to it, and that element is every subject that we think about is actually two subjects, the having of it and the not having of it. So let's say you're thinking about the subject of money and you want more money in your life. But if you're thinking about the absence of money, then you're pushing the absence of money into your future. If you think about the having of money or abundance, then you're pushing the abundance of money into your future. It's as simple as that. And this is where most people get mixed up, because we think about a subject, and a lot of times mental health issues have to deal with relationships. When we don't feel loved, that is the primary reason for the creation of mental health issues. So if we keep thinking about the fact that nobody loves us, then we're pushing this end of the stick into our future, even though what we want is someone to love us, which is here. So we push the wrong end of the stick into our future. What we really need to do is to push this end into the future. And if we did that, then we would get into our future and find this, the thing that we want. So one of the concepts that's really important to understand is that every mental health issue is two issues. One issue is the manifested issue, and the second issue is the invisible issue. That's the second place where therapy and law of attraction kind of deviate from each other. Where in therapy, you deal with the manifested issue, the relationship that's gone wrong, the confidence issues, the fears, the anxieties. You're dealing with the manifestations. Law of attraction deals with both the manifestation and the vibrational problem that created the manifestation. I call this the two-headed monster, because there's one head of the monster which is manifested and visible, and that is the problem that you can see and feel. And the other one is the problem that is there, but it's being ignored because it's invisible. So it's a two-headed monster, where one head of the monster is invisible and you can see the other head of the monster. So what happens in therapy is that you keep fighting this manifested head, the head that you can see. You slay it, but what happens is, as soon as you slay it, this invisible head sprouts another manifested head. And you cut that one down and it sprouts another manifested head. Because what you really need to do is cut off both the heads of this monster, not just the one head. So the way law of attraction works is that you need to work on both the heads, and there are strategies that help you to do exactly that. And those strategies are the things that you do that take you up the emotional scale. Because when you go up the emotional scale, you end up fixing both the manifested problem as well as the invisible problem. So let's take an example of the two heads of the monster. The manifested head of the monster can be excess weight gain. The invisible part of the problem is feeling neglected by your spouse or not being able to find a relationship. That can be the problem, being jilted in love. That can be the issue. It's the thoughts surrounding this issue that are now creating this problem. So we have to deal with the weight gain as well as the emotional issue that caused the weight gain. A lot of times people focus on the weight gain and go on diets and meal plans and so many substances, chemicals, and medicines in order to deal with this problem. But the problem goes away maybe or gets lessened and then comes back. And the reason that happens is because you're not dealing with this problem, the vibrational problem. You have to deal with both. So comment below. Going forward, I am going to deal with both the manifested problem as well as the invisible problem, the vibrational problem. Comment below. I'm going to deal with both the heads of the monster. So, how do you do that? Law of attraction says that if you can find ways to go up the emotional scale, then both problems will go away. So that's the main thing. We have to find a way to go up the emotional scale. So let's take a look at the emotional scale. It's really simple. From despair all the way to love. If we were over here on the emotional scale, we would have perfect mental health. But mental health issues are because we are usually below the worry line in this region of the emotional scale. And because we are on this side of the emotional scale, we have a manifested problem that we have to deal with, because momentum, meaning spending time here in this area, momentum is what gives rise to the manifestation. So, for example, if you're thinking about your ex and you want this person back in your life, you keep thinking about them and thinking about them. If you only thought about them once and then you never thought about them ever again, you diverted your attention and you found yourself in another relationship that made you happy, you would go up the emotional scale and then you'd be fine. But for a lot of people, they keep wanting things and wanting things and wanting things. And when you do that, you create what is called momentum. Momentum, all momentum means is I've been over here and I've been thinking the same thought or similar thought that creates the same kind of emotion for a very long time. When you do that, that is what results in despair. That is what results in hopelessness. That is what results in feeling inadequate or unappreciated. So what we have to do is we have to deal with both the problems, and the easiest way to deal with the problem is to stop thinking about it, because when you stop thinking about it, you're not feeding this momentum anymore. And when you don't feed the momentum, it dies out and doesn't hold you down. See, this here is magnetic energy and it is literally pulling you down. So if you stop, so it's pulling you down, literally speaking, like that. If you stop feeding this, then that magnetic pull downwards will go away. And when the magnetic pull downwards will go away, you're automatically going to shoot to the top, because that's your natural state of being. That's where you're supposed to live your life from. So what helps us to go from here to here? You know, I'm going to say this to you with a lot of love. I know that a lot of people out there don't talk about it, but here is the real secret. It is all about discipline. Yes, folks, it's all about discipline. You see, when we are younger, our parents tell us what to do. They discipline us. So they take away our self-discipline. We stop regulating our actions, our thoughts, and our reactions because somebody else is telling us how to react to situations or not to react to them. And as a result, what happens is we become dependent on someone outside of us to tell us how we should feel. And when there's no one to tell us how to feel, we are unable to resolve the tussle that goes on inside us. When you were younger and you fell, your mother gave you a hug and told you it was going to be better. And then she firmly shifted your attention from being hurt to doing something else. Now that created a dependency. You need someone else to tell you that everything's going to be all right, because you don't believe yourself anymore, because you're not used to believing yourself. You're used to believing someone outside of you telling you that things are going to be all right. So now you're living on your own and that voice has gone away. And you try to tell yourself that things will be all right, but you don't believe yourself because you've never had the confidence to believe in yourself. The other thing that happens is our parents kind of regulate our lives. They tell us when to wake up, when to go to bed, when to have our meals. And they create a structure in our lives. For a lot of us, when we leave home, that structure is gone. Now we need self-discipline. Our work gives us some discipline. Having children gives us some discipline, because now there are things that we have to do, again, that someone else wants us to do. And so now we have this structure around our lives. But if you didn't have those things, now you wouldn't have any discipline in your life. The discipline mainly to think your thoughts in a positive manner. See, when you had a fight and you were a kid, your parents told you to forget about it, so you felt bad for a little while, but then you listened to them and you forgot about it. Now you have a fight, there's no one to tell you to forget about it. You hang on to it. Not only do you hang on to it and keep telling it to yourself, you go and tell it to a lot of your friends, well-meaning friends. You want to share with them because now you think they're going to make you feel better. But they just sympathize with you. Nobody tells you to stop. Nobody says, quit. That's it. Don't do that to yourself. Go do something else, which is really what you want. So what we need at the end of the day is the self-discipline, is the commitment to understand that when we exert self-discipline and we do those things that we know we need to do, then our lives get better. We know we shouldn't be thinking negative thoughts. We know we shouldn't be thinking about that person who just hurt us, because it doesn't feel good. And when it doesn't feel good, you intuitively know that you shouldn't go towards something that doesn't feel good. If you put your hand on a stove and your hand burns, you know you shouldn't go there. That's a physical hurt. And you understand that when something hurts you physically, you don't go there. If you see a barbed wire fence, you don't try to climb it with your bare hands. You avoid it. You go around it. But when it's an emotional hurt, when somebody's hurt you emotionally, you felt that hurt and your heart is bleeding, you keep going back there for more hurt. Every time you go back. And when you go back, every time that you go back, you make the invisible head of the monster bigger. So comment below. I am going to self-discipline myself. Just comment below with the words self-discipline. Self-discipline. Yes, folks, that is the thing that's missing. It's the same self-discipline that we need to exert when we see a piece of chocolate cake that we really want, but we say no thank you because we know that we have a belief that says, if I eat this, I gained 2 pounds, right? And then here's someone that we think doesn't love us, but we keep going back expecting love. Whereas we know that it's not there. That person has walked out of your life. And now you are going to take yourself down the emotional scale to a place of depression and despair over this thing that you know hurts. So stop it. Stop it. Don't do that. You've got to have the discipline to tell yourself, stop it. And then you do stop it. And you do divert your attention and do something else. And what are those things? All law of attraction tools boil down to only 2 things: appreciation and meditation. That's it. Take your mind off your problems and find something to appreciate. Take your mind off your problems. Do not take your problem into meditation, because meditation is more powerful than thinking about it, because it's focused thought. If you focus on the absence, if you focus on a problem, and the problem is, I love this person, but they're not returning my love. If you take this problem into meditation, you're putting focused thought on it. You are actually pushing it faster into the future. So don't do that. Meditation is about you stopping the process of thinking about your life so that you can allow your inner being, the universe, to think on your behalf. And when your inner being thinks on your behalf, your inner being always thinks about the things that you want and never thinks about the absence of them. So when you cut it out, now the vibration of your inner being is what becomes dominant and starts pushing this thing into the future. So if you were to combine meditation, effective meditation, the way I explained it just now, effective meditation with appreciation for just nature, stay off the subject of your life. In fact, if you are in depression, the most powerful thing for you to do is to stop thinking about your life, because the more you think about it, the worse you make the problem, the more you energize this magnet that pulls you down, because all of depression is over here. It's a 0. So you've got to cut out thinking about your own life so that your life can get better, because there is another part of you, the inner being part of you, that is there to help you. But as long as you keep thinking, it cannot happen. So comment below, stop it. Stop it. Stop it now. Stop it this minute. Stop it today. And see how quickly you gain control over tomorrow. That's how law of attraction helps us to improve our mental health. And you know what? The field of psychology and therapy has accepted. They have all accepted that meditation works. However, there are gaps in the way that they teach meditation. So if you really want to learn meditation, and if you really want to learn how appreciation works, I'm going to leave links below in the comments so that you can click through to other videos that I've posted, which will help you with those 2 subjects. So I hope that you found value in our discussion today. I'm going to bring this subject to a close. If you are experiencing any type of anxiety, panic attacks, depression, trust me, I know, because I have been there. I have been someone who used to live my life in that place. And I have turned it around. And the advice that I am giving you comes from the bottom of my heart. I know that you can do this, and I am here to help you along. So just take it one little step at a time, and remember, the discipline that you exert is going to be more effective than the discipline that anyone else exerts on you. because at this stage of your life, you cannot take your therapist home with you. But somebody needs to watch you all the time because you keep going off track. And your mother isn't there to do it for you, and your father isn't there to do it for you. You gotta do it for you. You've got to have that discipline. You have to exert that discipline if you want to improve the state of your mental health. I think one of the other shortfalls of just using therapy is that it doesn't give you concrete things that you can do on a daily basis until your next visit. So what happens in between visits with the therapist is that you go back to thinking your old thoughts. And when you go back to thinking your old thoughts, those old thoughts are the hot stove. Those old thoughts are what create the pain. And actually, when you go to a therapist who helps you to ignite the past, now you come away from that therapy session and you've activated the past even more than it was activated before. So now you're thinking your old thoughts with a new force, new energy. And that makes it way worse because now you're putting your hand on that stove who knows how many times a day. So the less you put your hand on the stove, then slowly you get used to not putting your hand there. See, sometimes we have this habit, like when you drive, your hand automatically goes to the gear. You know where to find the gear. And if you're used to thinking your thoughts in a certain hurtful way, your mind automatically falls into that gear. It doesn't need much help because that becomes your programming. It becomes your autopilot. So you have to be more mindful. That is why mindfulness is so important. Because when you're mindful, you're not on autopilot. You have manual control and you can decide where you want your thoughts to go. So one of the things that really helps with someone who has anxiety issues or panic attacks and depression is having a structure for vibrational law of attraction work to do on a daily basis, and to have someone that you can reach out to on a daily basis. Someone who's there to answer your questions, someone who's there to give you support and understands the process. Not a friend who does not understand law of attraction, but someone who understands law of attraction. And I think that's why there's a lot of value in joining a Facebook group where you have people who can address your questions and give you concrete advice. Now, having said that, all Facebook groups are not the same. A lot of Facebook groups are about the blind leading the blind. But there are those few Facebook groups that actually provide answers, that actually provide the support that people need. So I am going to invite you to join my Facebook group, which is called Unlimited Life. And if you want the structure of doing daily exercises, then I would recommend grabbing this workbook. It is a 40-day workbook, but what we do is we repeat the 40 days every 40 days. We go through a cycle of 40 days, we stop, we start a new cycle. What this does is that it helps you build a firm foundation that takes you up the emotional scale. You start understanding, first of all, how law of attraction works. You have a place where you can ask questions in a closed group, in a safe environment. You have a regimen that you need to complete on a daily basis that consists of exercises. Not only exercises, but it consists of a daily inspirational piece to read that helps you to form new beliefs. And then in the Facebook group, I am there every morning posting a 2-minute video clip that helps you focus on how you want to think your thoughts on that day. So that's what this 40-day law of attraction workout is all about. Every 40-day cycle, it gets a kickoff with a webinar called How to Get the Most Out of Your 40 Days. And I think that the community that we've created and the people who have been doing this workout for many years now with me are part of that group. And when I'm not around, which is rare, they are there to provide support and continuity. So come and join us. You'll see the difference. What I'm doing and the change that I am creating is different, and I am thrilled with the results. So that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this discussion, and if you did, leave me a comment to let me know. How about commenting unlimited? I would really like that. And click that like button and subscribe before you leave so that I can invite you back to my next video. I'm actually going to look forward to seeing you all inside my Facebook group. Bye for now.